Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful. The Quran and Modern Science. Embryology. Muslims seek answers. A group of Muslim scholars, under the direction of an eminent Yemeni scholar, Syed Abdul Majid, collected information concerning embryology and other sciences in the Quran and undisputed hadith and translated it into English. They then followed the Quranic advice. If ye release this work, ask to those who processes the message. Al-Quran, Surah Nahl, Ayat 43 and Surah Al-Anbiya, Ayat 7. All the information from the Quran and undisputed hadith concerning embryology so gathered after being translated into English and presented to the Professor Kate Moore, Professor of Embryology and Chairman of the Department of Anatomy at the University of Toronto in Canada. At present, he is one of the highest authorities in the field of embryology. He was asked to give his opinion regarding the material presented to him. After carefully examining it, Dr. Moore said that most of the information concerning embryology mentioned in the Quran and undisputed hadith is in perfect conformity with modern discoveries in the field of embryology and doesn't conflict with them in any way. He added that there were a few words, however, on which scientific accuracy he couldn't comment. He couldn't say whether the statement were true or false since he was himself unaware of the information and contained therein. There was also no mention of this information in modern writings and studies on embryology. One such verse is proclaimed or read, "In the name of thy Lord and Cherisher who created man out of a mere clot of congealed blood." Al-Quran, Surah Al-Alaq, Ayat 1-2. The Arabic word alaq, beside meaning a congealed clot of blood, also means something that clinges, a leech-like substance. Dr. Kate Moore had no knowledge whether an embryo in the initial stage appears like a leech. To check this out, he studied the initial stage of the embryo under a very powerful microscope and compared that he observed with the diagram of a leech. He was astonished at the striking resemblance between the two. In the same manner, he acquired more information on embryology that was hitherto not known to him from the Quran. Dr. Kate Moore answered about 80 questions dealing with embryological data mentioned in the Quran and Hadith, noting that the information contained in the Quran and Hadith was in full agreement with the latest discoveries in the field of embryology. Professor Moore said, "If I was asked this question 30 years ago, I would not have been able to answer half of them for the lack of scientific information." In 1981, during the 7th Medical Conference in Dammam, Saudi Arabia, Dr. Moore said, "It has been a great pleasure for me to help clarify statements in the Quran about human development. It is clear to me that these statements must have come to Muhammad from God or Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because almost all of this knowledge were not discovered until many centuries later. This proves to me that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam must have been a messenger of God or Allah." Dr. Kate Moore had earlier authored the book The Developing Human. After acquiring new knowledge from the Quran, he wrote in 1982 the third edition of the same book, The Developing Human. The book was the recipient of an award from the best medical book written by a single author. This book has been translated into 7 major languages of the world and used as a textbook of embryology in the first year of medical studies. One of the chairmen of the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at the Baylor College of Medicine, Houston, USA, proclaims this hadith saying of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam could not have been obtained on the basis of the scientific knowledge that was available at that time of the writer. It follows that not only is there no conflict between genetics and religion, but in fact religion may guide science by adding revelation to some of the traditional scientific approaches. There exists the statement in the Quran shown centuries later to be valid, which support knowledge in the Quran having been deprived from God. Drop emitted from between the backbone and the ribs. Now let man but think from where he is created. He is created from a drop emitted proceeding from between the backbone and the rib. Al-Quran, Surah Tariq, Ayat 5-7. In embryology, in embryonic stage, the reproductive organ of the male and female, the testicle and the ovaries, begins their development near the kidney between the spinal column and the 11th and the 12th ribs. Later, they descended. The female gonad's ovary stops in the pelvis, while the male gonad's testicles continues their descent before birth to reach the scrotum through the inguinal canal. Even in adulthood, after the descent of the reproductive organs, these organs receive their nerve supply and blood supply from the abdominal aorta, which is in the area between the backbone, spinal column, and the ribs. The lymphatic drainage and the venous return also go to the same area. Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful. The Quran and modern science. Medicine. Honey, healing for humankind. The bee assimilates juice for various kinds of fruits and flowers and forms honey within its body, which it stores in its cell of wax. Only a couple of centuries ago, humans came to know that honey comes from the belly of the bee. But this fact was mentioned in the Quran 1400 years ago in the following verse. There issues from within their bodies a drink of varying color, wherein is healing for men. Al-Quran, Surah Nahl, Ayat 69. We are only now aware that honey has healing properties and it is also a mild antiseptic. The Russian would use honey to cover their wound in World War II. The wound would retain moisture and would leave very little scar tissue. Due to the density of honey, no fungus or bacteria could grow in the wound. Dramatic improvements were visible in 22 incurable chest and Alzheimer's disease patients at nursing home in England who were treated by Sister Carol, a nun, with propolis, a substance which bee produce to steal hives against bacteria. A person suffering from an allergy of a particular plant may be given honey from that plant so that the person develops resistance in that allergy. Honey is also rich in fructose and vitamin K. The knowledge contained in the Quran regarding honey, its origin and properties was discovered centuries after its revelation. Nutfa, minute quantity of liquid. The glorious Quran mentions no less than 11 times that human being is created from nutfa, which means a minute quantity of liquid or a trickle of liquid that remains after emptying a cup. This mentioned in the several verses of the Quran, including chapter 22 ayat 5 and chapter 23 ayat 13. Science has confirmed in recent times that only out of an average of 3 million sperms is required for fertilizing the ovum. This means that 1/3 millionth part or 0.00003% of the quantity of sperms that are emitted is required for fertilization. Sulala, quintessence of liquid, and made his progeny from a quintessence of the nature of a fluid despised. Al-Quran, Surah Sajda, Ayat 8. The Arabic word sulala means quintessence or the best part of a whole. We have come to know that only one spermatozoon that penetrates the ovum is required for fertilization, out of several million produced by man. The one spermatozoon out of 7 million is referred to in the Quran as sulala. We have also come to know now that only one ovum is fertilized out of the tens of thousands produced by the female. That one ovum out of tens of thousands is also referred to in the Quran as sulala. This word also means gentle interaction from a fluid. The fluid refers to both male and female germinal fluids containing gametes. Both ovum and sperm are gently extracted from their environment in the process of fertilization. Nutfatun amshahjaj, mingled liquid. Verily, we created man from a drop of mingled sperm. Al-Quran, Surah Al-Insan, Ayat 2. The Arabic word nutfatun amsajin means mingled liquids. According to some commentators of the Quran, mingled liquids refers to the male or female agents or liquids. After mixture of male and female gamete, the zygote still remains nutfa. Mingled liquids also refers to spermatic fluid that is formed of various secretion that comes from various glands. Therefore, nutfatin amsacha, a minute quantity of mingled fluids, refers to the male and female gametes and part of the surrounding fluids.